So that's it for the main deck.
All right, then, Corey. Then how about we talk about some of your non-engine choices now?
Sure, let's take a look. So here we have Dimension Shifter.
That makes sense.
And then to make sure that you open Dimension Shifter, you want to play 2 more copies of Dimension Shifter.
Wait, what?
Why not 3, though?
Well, so we have 3 more, so we'll play 3 more copies of Dimension Shifter.
Makes sense.
It really helps for opening a dark attribute in the VS deck. So then on top of that, we do 2 more copies of Dimension Shifter.
Oh, consistency!
It's extremely consistent.
Does tribute summoning that one ever come up?
Occasionally you do need to tribute summon it to out the Spellcaster Village. Yeah, it comes
Oh,
up.
it's a... Oh, goodness.
It's a spellcaster. It's a dark
That's
spellcaster.
crazy.
You can also tribute this for the new Dark Magician guy. And then I've got 3 more copies of Dimension Shifter.
In case you need to overlay them, I get it.
Yeah, sometimes you have to overlay rank 6. So I've got 2 more copies of Dimension Shifter.
Wait a second.
No, don't worry.
Oh, okay.
And then lastly, because you want to make sure you open it, I run 3 more copies of Dimension Shifter.
I could have sworn it was 3.
I appreciate the
It's
comment.
3 comments.
Very nice, Corey. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for the deck profile.
problem,
Wonderful
man.
show, and
If you want to get like me and open Shifter, just copy my deck.
so true.
What's going on, everybody? This is Corey P with the Past Priority channel. I'm coming here today to give you my deck list for top 64. I got 55th place at YCS Richmond, the 300th YCS. I did make some interesting deck choices, I believe, that I haven't seen a lot of people make with Vanquish Soul K9. I want to give you guys like the reason that I did certain things, because when I built this deck the way that I built it, it was to fix a problem, which is basically the problem that I experienced with this deck, where it only loses really to itself. It's a great deck going second. It's nigh unbeatable going first, unless you get like double Peruliad or something. And they draw a bunch of board breakers. But the problem that I experienced with the deck mainly is that it would just lose to itself. I would have an awkward hand, brick hands. I actually played a case tournament the weekend before YCS Richmond, did really poorly with the deck, and it almost convinced me not to play it. I almost played Radiant Typhoon. For those who saw me on stream, round 1, I think in the post-match interview, I ended up talking about it a little bit, but I believe I fixed the issues with the deck. I think that this was the strongest deck in the room. Had I not misplayed a couple of matches, I could have been top 8, top 16, whatever. So let's go over it. I want to start with the non-engine because I think that it is the least interesting of the parts of the deck. We've got 3 copies of Fualos. Everyone's playing this in the main deck pretty much. Nothing interesting about that. I think you just have to play Fua. I did see a lot of people maining Perulia. I personally don't like maining Perulia in this list, in this deck. Next, we have 3 copies of Ash Blossom. You have to run Ash because it's a fire attribute, and even though we got Rosin back to 3, it's still nice to have the additional fires in hand. Going Stake, reveal Ash, just to show him you have the Ash is pretty funny. And this obviously counters the Charmies. I think Mulcharmy Perulia was like the bane of this deck's existence, so being able to Ash a Perulia is awesome. I think you have to main it. It's also just good against certain things in this, like obviously hitting the Dracotel matchup pretty hard at any point that you need it. Not much to say about Ash. I mean, it's Ash Blossom. We're playing 2 Bells. I do like Bell, again, for the Dracotel matchup. It helps out. Bell, I think, is just really good in this format in a lot of places. It can hit a lot of different cards, and obviously it is an Earth attribute. And then lastly, the card of the day for me, day 1, Dimension Shifter. You saw me open this one of 2 matches in a row against the homie from Australia that I played on stream. Unfortunate for him, great for me. It is what it is. But you have to, I think you have to play Shifter if you're playing this deck. This is one of the decks in the room that can just sack your opponent with a Shifter. And there's so many lines with this deck that play into Shifter and still end on 3-4 interactions where it doesn't really hurt you, or even your follow-up, to be honest. So I think Shifter is mandatory if you're playing this deck in the main deck. I don't even side it. You'll never see it. To be honest, I saw it a few times day 1, obviously in the round 1 feature match, but I didn't see it a lot later on in the day and even day 2. But you have to play it. So that is the non-engine. Just, what is that, 3, 6, 9 9 hand traps basically, main deck, not counting Azuna. Next, I'm going to get into the K9 portion. So I play a larger K9 package than a lot of VS players do. I chose to value the normal summon of Noroi pretty highly. The reason for that, and I'll just go ahead and lay these down, that we've got 3 Norois here. And I know this is uncommon. There's a lot of VS players that are playing 1 of this. There's a few that are playing 2. There's some that are playing none. But I think that this was a stronger normal summon than like Mad Love, right? So I wanted my normal summons to be Rosin or Noroi. I wanted to stake into Mad Love. I wanted to, you know, summon Mad Love off of Holly Sue I did not want that to be my normal summon, and you'll see later in my ratios there's something that reflects that. But I think Noroi is an insane normal summon. It allows you to go for the Saryuja line. Spoiler alert, I'm playing Saryuja. I summoned that card so many times over the weekend, and it won me so many games by drawing into side deck cards or missing attributes or just getting me into the VS engine from K9. Because with the number of K9s I play, you will open a lot of just K9 hands. That being said, I also play 2 Lantern and 1 Jokel. Obviously 1 Jokel because it's at 1. Double Lantern because this turns normal summon Noroi into the full Saryuja line protected with Ripper. And I think that I valued that very highly in this deck, so I wanted to play the new 2 Lanterns. I also valued having more Darks in hand, and Lantern is a Dark in hand, so why not? Shout out to TJ Orselli for putting me on to the higher K9 count. We've got 3 copies of Azuna. It's a crazy hand trap. It does a lot for you. Anytime I saw this in my opening hand and I was going second against Branded Dracotail, I almost assuredly won that match. It's insane. And then, of course, the 1 Lupus. There were multiple times where I did miss second Lupus. I was on 2 Lupus prior to the event, the case tournament and stuff, but someone was talking to me about it, and they're like, if you just use your Lupus willy-nilly, you're going to lose it and you're going to miss it. There were a few times where I thought that I was being safe with Lupus over the course of the event, and I still lost it, but I don't think that it was, like, match determinative. It might have been game determinative a couple times where, like, if only I had my Lupus, I could have won this game, whatever. But all in all, I still think it's fine to do 1. I'm debating going up to 2, but I think you're fine with 1, to be honest. We've got a case for K9 and K9 X Force Release. I'm not playing Release Restraint. There were a few times where I kind of wish that I was. Release Restraint plays around the Radiant Typhoon deck a lot better because you can activate it in the draw phase, which is when they're normally going to MST or Force Release. You can't do anything about it. But I think this was fine. I think just the Force Release was fine. I got to reset this card all day 1, and it went crazy. And then lastly, I'm on 3 copies of Chaotic Elements. Like I said, big K9 package. I wanted to have access to additional pushes. I wanted to have access to dark monsters, and that's what this gives me. I can add a Lantern, I can add a Lantern, I can add a Jokel, I can add back a Jokel, because this adds from grave, not just from deck. You can also do that to play around Droll in some scenarios. Chaotic Elements is a crazy card. I loved having this at 3 in the main deck. I would side out, and I'm going to talk about side patterns later, but I would side out 1 to 2 copies, typically going second. But for now, that is my K9 package in all of its glory. This package won me so many games by itself. There were games where I played basically pure K9 and didn't see any Vanquish Soul cards and was still able to win because this engine is so crazy. It's so strong. All right, the Vanquish Soul portion of the deck. It's hard to say if this is stronger than the K9 portion. I think that it has so many more tools than the K9 portion. Obviously, it plays better into boards a lot of times than the K9 package does. And this is really the reason I'm playing this. So I'm on 3 Rosin. Obviously, this is like your best normal summon 90% of the time. Card is nuts. Please keep it at 3. It being back at 3 is so amazing. This is where it starts to get different. I play 2 copies of Mad Love. Most of the games that I bricked in the case event before Richmond, and then even before that, it was because I was opening normal Mad Love, and that was my only normal summon, or I was opening multiple normal summons, like a Rosin, a Mad Love, and a Noroi. So annoying. I wanted to cut down on that chance slightly and still keep the deck at a reasonable number, so I decided to cut a Mad Love. Did not miss the 3rd one ever. Never missed the 3rd one. I typically don't even normal summon this. I'll typically summon it off Stake Your Soul or Holly Sue, like I mentioned earlier. Another maybe odd one, I'm on 2 Xiaolong. The brick hands that I experienced where I would have unplayable hands prior to this event were because I would open like 2 Xiaolongs and some, like an Azuna going first, and then Force Release and some other stuff, just stuff that did not play. I think Xiaolong is a crazy card. It's a fire attribute, which is obviously important in this deck, but I don't think it's worth running the 3rd one right now. That's my experience. Math be damned. I'm running 2 Xiaolong. I never miss the 3rd. All right. And then lastly, the 3 one-ofs, Heavy Borger, Caesar Valius, Holly Sue. Shout out to Glenn Martin for letting me use his Starlight Holly Sue and Starlight Lupus and some other cards for the event. Loved having the shiny cards on stream, but I don't own the Starlight, so just my ultra rare. Holly Sue, sometimes you just open it and you just win the game if you have the attributes. This card's crazy. This and Xiaolong being a 2-card combo to get into the K9 stuff is awesome. Playing only one of these, yeah, it sucks if they get banished or something, but I've won a ton of games where one of these 3 got banished. You just have to play your resources as smart as you can. Try not to play into stuff. So that's all the monsters. I'm going to scoop these up just a hair. Then we've got the start, of course, field spell, great field spell. I'll still need a super copy. Haven't been able to find one out of all the OTS packs we've opened, but we've got Stake Your Souls. Thank goodness this is back at 3. This card is crazy. Very occasionally I would side one out, but we'll talk about that later. And then the kind of honorary VS cards are Reinforcement of the Army and Pot of Prosperity. I would also side out Rhoda sometimes. Like, basically you'll see that a lot of my siding patterns later on are like to avoid getting trolled as much as possible. But Pot of Prosperity, I never sided this card out. I think the card's insane. Being able to help you find missing attributes or find side deck cards. You know, you go full combo and Prosperity for 3 and rip like a Dim Fizz off the top is nuts. So that's the VS stuff. I really think 2 Xiaolong, 2 Mad Love as the way to go moving forward with the deck. All right, set those off to the side. Let's get into the extra deck. All right. So we're on 2 Rock. Shouts out Roxas to getting me the ulties. Rock of the Vanquisher is an awesome card. Seldom does the 3rd one come up. If the 3rd one has come up, you're not in a great position anyway. So I think 2 is plenty. I wouldn't go down to 1. There's some people out there that talk about that, but I think you have to run at least 2. SP Little Knight. I'm still on SP. It still comes up. I still think it's worth playing. Saryuja Skull Dread. Same thing here. Still think this card is worth playing. The Saryuja lines are a little greedy, but the thing is, like, in those lines, a lot of times your opponents are going to hand trap you before you ever get to Saryuja. And if you do the normal Noroi Summon Lantern, that full K9 combo, you get to the Saryuja with protection of Ripper. So it's like, unless they have Nib Perm, or unless they have, like, Ash Imperm, where they Ash this, Imperm the Ripper, okay, but they better see it, right? Because if not, I'm going to go mega combo on them. Those are the links. Just gonna leave those there. We play the 2 Rippers. I believe you have to play 2 Rippers. If you're not playing 2 Rippers, I think you're making a mistake. The 2nd Ripper comes up so much. I literally have run out of rank 5s to summon with this deck because of all the K9 stuff I'm playing. You have to play 2 Rippers. I play Jax and I play Werewolf. I'm not on Ripper M or Ripper Millennium, whatever. I think that if I was playing the other quick play, Release Restraint, that I would be on Ripper M, but because I decided not to play that, I'm not playing Ripper M. It might have been cool a few times. You can like protect your VS names with the field spell or with the trap, blow up the whole board and not lose anything, which is really cool. But I just didn't get enough time to test it before the event, and I trusted the list that I was on, so did not use Ripper M. Werewolf is crazy. This ranked up onto a Jax is an insta-kill button if they've used any hand or graveyard effects. And then the other rank 5s I play are Valon. I thought about trying to do like the Zenmayo or whatever his name is, that like you can detach and pop 2 spells or traps, but it's not a quick effect. I feel like this does still end up being like the best Zeus pilot most of the time. So I stuck with the Valon. And then of course the Nash Knight package. So we were on Nash Knight, CXYZ. We were actually on Silent Honor Arc, number 101, and then the C101 Silent Honor Dark. This was a decision that was kind of made for me originally because I did not own Masquerade, but the more I talked to people, and I watched a video of someone, and I can't remember who it is, so I apologize. One of the other YouTubers was on there talking about how if you've made Masquerade, you've got your whole board set up, you've already won the game, it's kind of win more. Whereas this actually helps you going second to break boards and delete follow-up from the opponent. And I have to say, I did not miss Masquerade, and I'm so happy I played this card. So many times did I make a 5 material Zeus and was just able to like keep the opponent out of the game with this. Because you suck up one with Nash Knight, you suck up another one with Silent Honor Dark, and then this does have a hidden effect. If you like crash it into a bigger monster, you can re-special summon it and suck something else up and like gain life. So would not have changed this. So happy that I wasn't running the Masquerade package. And then lastly, the Zeus and the Typhon. I will say Typhon did kind of underperform at this event. It unfortunately was kind of the delayed concede button. There was a couple times where it came up, but it wasn't, I didn't win those games, basically. This was kind of like a last resort. Zeus, however, was insane. This card, crazy. Would never cut this in this deck, especially if you're playing the C101 package. Absolutely nuts. So that is the extra deck. All right, side deck. No, I'm not maining Perulia, but I do still think you should play it somewhere in your list because this card is crazy in the mirror match. Absolutely crazy. In fact, the only mirror that I lost all weekend was day 2 because he double Perulia'd me game 2 after Perulia'ing me game 1. So shout out to that guy. He just had the nuts. It's also insane into Radiant Typhoon. It's good into like the yummy tri decks that we're running around. I was running Retaliating Sea. You'll see kind of a common thing here with my deck is that I want to have as many copies of Shifter as possible. And this is essentially Shifter into the Draco Tail matchup. This came up a lot. I loved resolving this into a Branded Fusion or into, you know, a Rahu or into whatever. Like, so good. I wanted to resolve it against a Memento player, but I didn't draw it. Feels bad. And it's an Earth, so why not? Droll is it too, but I still think you have to play Droll for certain matchups, aka the Mirror. And there's some other matchups it comes up in, but I think you still have to play Droll somewhere in your list. It's a crazy card. There's a reason that they put it at 2. This card should be banned, because building your whole board and then drolling your opponent after that is absurd. Same reason like Maxi would deserve to be banned and stay banned. Maybe this will get the more Charmy treatment. That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping they'll like issue some sort of new Charmy Droll that's like you can't control any cards, but it does the same effect. I think that would be dope because it'd be a good going second card, but it wouldn't be good going first. So, and then 3 more copies of Shifter. Dimensional Fissure was an insane card. I alluded to it earlier, but there was a match against Jason, who was also on feature. I think he was round 5 feature, playing the Elf Note Fiendsmith deck, and I was able to draw into this off of a Saryuja against him. I opened this game 3 against a Memento player round, oh god, 13 or 14. Shouts out to him. He was not happy about it. Great player. Great Memento player. But Dimensional Fissure just says no graveyard. So this was a tech choice that caught a lot of people off guard, and I know that I'm not the first to do this, or this isn't really new, but I think a lot of people still don't do this in this deck. Infinite Impermanence. So when you look at Imperm, you're like, why would you put it in this deck? It's not a monster. It's not a fire, earth, or dark. Seems like a terrible card to side in. But it's the same reason that you side in Perulia or Droll, and those aren't the attributes, because this card is crazy in certain matchups. I think that you put this in going second against a lot of the branded Draco Tail decks. Imperming an Arthalion is crazy, and I did that often. I also think in the mirror match, you put this in, because hitting a Noroi normal is crazy. Hitting a Rosin normal sometimes just does it. I mean, they only play 1 Caesar, 1 Heavy Borger. Most of the time, they don't have the tag out, so you just Imperm and stop them from playing. I think Imperm's really underrated, honestly, in this format, and it came up a lot, and I'm super glad that I had it here. And I'll talk about the siding patterns. Like I said, I should probably do that now. I'll show you the last card, Vanquish Soul Snow Devil. I was not maining the trap. There were a few times I kind of wish that I had it in the main, but the reason that I'm not maining it is because, like I've mentioned multiple times in this deck profile, I wanted to open playable, and that means going second. This card does nothing for you going second. If you set it and with the attributes in hand and think that you're going to make it to your opponent's turn to play, you are out of your mind. There's too many Typhoon decks running around, too many ways to pop back row. Like, I don't think that this was worth it going second. And I didn't want it in my deck. I didn't want to have this as my 5th card, aka a blank card, going second. You know, I draw my 6th card, I have 5, whatever. But, like, this is just not worth it going second. So I only sided in for going first. Didn't miss it a lot going first, to be honest, like game 1. The deck is insane, even without the trap. You know, you have the layer of the force release that you usually have set. So it's whatever. I'm going to talk about some of the siding patterns here, because I think it's important to talk about this, and not a lot of people talk about siding patterns when they do their deck profiles. So I want to give you guys a little bit of the goo. Spoiler alert, I never sided out any Vanquish Soul cards going second. Because I'm already on the 2 Mad Love and already on the 2 Xiaolong, I didn't believe that I could sacrifice any of those. I would occasionally side out a Stake and like a Rhoda, right? And then a lot of times it's going to be like 2 Norois. 2 Norois, if we're siding 6, for example, right? And then 2 Chaotic Elements. So this is going second side outs, right? Side out 2 elements, 2 Norois, Rhoda, Stake Your Soul. And I know you're saying like, oh, Stake Your Soul is an extender. Well, look, we need to be able to survive. we need to be able to stop our opponents. So these would come out for like, okay, so for instance, like Draco Tail. I'm not putting in Perulia against Draco Tail. I know that the Fallen in White, Wowbaz, whatever people are calling him, summons from hand. They have a few summons from hand. I do not think this is worth it putting in against Draco Tail. My Draco Tail side in going second. I'm taking out these 6. I'm putting in Retaliating Seas, and I'm putting in Imperms, okay? So these 6 for those 6. If I'm going second against a deck that is not that, it's probably going to be the 3 Perulias. It's going to be Drolls, depending on the matchup, and I'll leave one of these in. So those are just some options. If we are going first and we need to side outs, obviously we have the 3 easiest side outs in the century are the Fualoses. So if I'm going first, it'll typically be these. I'm trying to remember what I was siding out all weekend, so forgive me. If Shifter's bad in the matchup, obviously that's an easy takeout going first. It is nice to have the extra dark attribute, but you've got the Chaotic Elements in deck. You've got the Lantern, so you don't really need it that bad. So sometimes it would be the Shifter. Sometimes I would take out a Chaotic Elements going first, and it would be like, you know, 3 of the dim fizzes and like 2 drolls for these 5, or like 3 dim fizz, the trap, and we'll just do this, or we'll just do 1 chaotic elements. There's a lot of stuff you can do. You don't side out a ton in this deck. The most you ever do is when you're siding out going second, you take out the 6 that I showed you, which is just like additional starters that you may not want to see in your hand. Like these, right? These 6 basically with the chaotic elements. You take out these 6 and you put in like 6 really good going second cards, like the Perulias and the Imperms, or the Retaliating Seas and the Perulias, whatever it may be. Those are just general siding patterns. I'm not going to get into each matchup. It's a lot of testing and a lot of nuance. Maybe we'll do a separate video on that someday, like specific side outs. If you want to see specific side outs per like deck, per matchup or whatever, going first and going second, let me know and I can make a dedicated video for that. I just don't want to do it in this deck profile because then it's going to get crazy long. I just want to say I had a lot of fun at YCS Richmond. This was my highest placement, only my second YCS. I went to YCS Orlando last year. Didn't do well. Last minute changed from Malice to Feedsmith Ryziel, and I knew Malice way better, and I wish that I would have played Malice because that deck did do well at that event. I could have easily day 2'd if I would have played Malice, I think. But I played the trendy best deck and didn't do well with it. Go figure. But this is my best performance. I got 55th. I'm really happy with myself. I'll say that day 1, I actually went nearly to time like twice and ended up having to scoop and give it to my opponent, because they weren't willing to do the same. And to be fair, we were in like a muddy board state. It's like kind of anyone's game. But I understand the value of not getting double losses, especially early day 1. So I decided to just give it to my opponent, and 2 losses day 1 came from that. That was it. Those were my only losses day 1. This deck is insane. I still think that it is the strongest deck in the room, bar none. My losses day 2 were definitely deserved. Either the opponent had the nuts or whatever. Like I lost twice day 2. One of those was a mirror. I talked about it earlier. It was another Vanquish Soul player who like double Perulia'd me. I may have said he double Perulia'd me game 2. He actually double Perulia'd me game 1. So he was main decking Perulia in VS. And I was saying I didn't want to do that. He did, and you know, I got punished for it super bad because I also played into it really hard. I didn't really have a choice. My hand was super weak, so I needed to like combo. Ended up playing through like 2 or 3 hand traps, but he was just able to like grind out and win that first game. Game 2, I built a board and he couldn't break it, and then game 3, he demolished me, unfortunately. Didn't draw enough hand traps. Go figure. I literally drew Ash. I remember I drew Ash as my only hand trap. He goes normal Roz, and I'm like, well, I have to high roll. I Ash it, and he had the call by. So, you know, go figure. But I don't know, man. That was a really good duel. And all my opponents were super nice, by the way. Everyone was super cool. I think there was like one opponent who wasn't very chill, but it's like whatever. Everyone, for the most part, was awesome. So that was a loss. That was like round 3 or 4 day 2. I can't remember exactly. But then I also lost my very last round. So unfortunately, I could have probably top 32'd, maybe even snuck into top 16 if my tiebreakers were good enough. But my very last round of day 2, I played against this nice guy who was on Yummy Sulfacord. I've played against Yummy Sulfacord like maybe twice because my buddy Matthew was playing it at locals for a while. I did not realize how easily they could get into the Omni Negate. Basically, there was a situation where he ended up activating Sulfacord Happiness. I didn't have the Ash for it. He summoned a guy, searched a guy, blah, 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 put up the pin scales, and was able to summon the Omni Negate. And he also was playing the new level 7 Synchro that gives you like an Omni Negate. You can either negate the previous thing on the chain or the 2 previous in the chain, whatever. Card's crazy. I don't know its name, but it's a new Omni Negate level 7 Synchro guy. He was playing that and the Sulfacord Omni Negate. So, I mean, his first board, he just ended on full that with full Yummy stuff. I couldn't break it. Game 2, I'm going first. I have the trap in my deck because I only put it in going first. I search Caesar with Xiaolong. And that was my mistake. That's what cost me this match, potentially. Because basically, I searched Caesar. When I didn't have to do that, I could have searched it on my opponent's turn. I should have searched the trap because I had all 3 attributes in hand. I go to summon Lupus from grave to make a Ripper. As soon as Lupus hits the field, he nibs me. Now, could I have made Ripper earlier in the combo? Yes. I could have used Halisu and Xiaolong to make a Ripper earlier in the combo to insulate myself from nib. I didn't do that because A, I didn't think he was on nib. B, I hadn't been nibbed all weekend. Like, no one was playing nib. Nibiru was the last thing on my mind. And, like, it definitely won him that game, 100%. and I could have played around it twice. I could have made Ripper earlier in the combo, and I should have searched the trap card with Xiaolong, but I got greedy, and that greed cost me a top 32, potentially a top 16. Lessons learned. It was a long weekend. It was the last game of the day. You know, it's just one of those things where you live and you learn. But all in all, I had a great experience. YCS Richmond was a blast. I was so stoked that I won this mat and sleeves at the YCS. Actually, let me grab the sleeves. I got the 300th YCS sleeves. So I'm really happy that I got the exclusive mat and sleeves for doing as well as I did. Very fun time, great duelists. I'm excited to go to the next one and hopefully top 16 or even top 8 the next one. I want to get higher and higher placements. It kind of gave me that hunger, but I appreciate you stopping by and checking out the deck list. If you want to see specific side outs, if you want to see anything else, let me know. I'm going to be making more content on here. And for anyone that's like, oh, top 64 isn't a top, like, I don't care, bro. It's a top to me. I got prizing. And if you don't think it counts, that's cool, because I'm going to top 8 the next YCS. So this is Corey P with Past Priority. Hope you have a good one. See ya.